What's good, my people? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Chronic OGs podcast. I'm one half of the Chronic OGs. I'm that boy they call Big Tone. Smitty's taking care of some personal things today. He and I will be back on camera together probably later tonight or tomorrow. Shout out to my boy Smitty being a good grandpa. Love you, boy. Hey, so this is a basketball topic, and it's not going to be long. But as being the basketball purist and coach that I am, I feel the need to talk about this. So, whether currently or in the future, your best player or your leader has to lead when things are good, when things are bad, right? And has to take responsibility when things are bad and shares the credit when things are good. So, I know a kid that played for me a couple years ago, now playing point guard at Montreat University, little 5'7", little spark plug. I call him Bam Bam. His name is Chance Whitfield. By far one of the smartest players I've ever coached. So his junior year, he was a 16, 17, like he can go get a bucket. But he's a little guard, and he knows the game. So over that summer between his junior and senior year, I had conversations I'm telling you, hundreds of conversations about leadership and pulling some back when it comes to scoring and all this other stuff. Being a leader on the floor, getting everybody involved, holding people accountable, getting in people's faces, taking the blame when you need to take the blame. And that's the most important thing. Taking the blame from some of your younger players, even when it ain't really their fault, but you trying to practice and enhance your leadership skills, and you want that team to rally behind you when you need to. So we got off to a slow start. By the end of the season, we was the most feared team in our region and definitely in our section. We made it to the Elite Eight, and if it wasn't for an injury for our big, we'd have definitely beat Chapel Hill and made it to the Final Four. But the reason I bring up Chance is because Chance led us. He was not our best player. He could have been if that was his goal, but his goal was to have a successful senior season. And we did that. Shout out Chance Whitfield. Shout out all my guys that played for me at Union Grove High School. Love you death. But now, I'm going to talk about something that Chance wouldn't want me to talk about because he's a Bron sexual. So the other day, Bron made a point on his podcast. We could talk about the purposes of that podcast later because every time I hear JJ Redick talk, he's saying things in a way to kind of elevate Bron when he said Michael Jordan's era was watered down and this, that. Trying to elevate LeBron's GOAT status, so to speak. We all know he gearing for that coaching job in LA. He's surprised if he didn't get it. But what I need you guys to do is to listen to this clip from the podcast that JJ Redick and Bron has. I think it's called The Mind of the Game or something like that. Just listen to this clip, and then I will talk to you on the other side.
My first year in Miami, we had a big three. And everyone said super team. Man. We had to build our team around all minimum guys, which was still okay. But we didn't feel like the complimentary guys enough. We had Rio, we had Udonis, but we didn't have enough as far as to actually make it all jumping. We still made it to the finals. And I should have won the finals, but I still give credit. Listen, it's what it is. You win, you lose, and we lost. Just know guys was fucking good. They had shot every time.
Okay, time for me to call bullshit. Bullshit is what bullshit does. Bron, my dude, you know this better than I do. And all y'all Bron sexuals that want to get this nigga a pass for 2011, talking about it was his first finals and all that bullshit, that would be cool if 13 years later this nigga didn't say this bullshit what he just said. Like the team wasn't ready. The team wasn't good enough. Bron, y'all was up 2-1 in that series. Y'all ain't win another fucking game. Y'all was up 2-1, homie. Bron sexuals, Rob Smith, Chance Whitfield, they was up 2-1. During the regular season, Bron averaged, y'all like my little Chronic OG's cards right there. Bron averaged 27 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game on 51% shooting and 34% from the from the 3-point line with 3 turnovers a game. In 2011 finals, while he was letting JJ Barea, Jason Terry, Deshaun Stevenson guard him, in the fourth quarter, this nigga averaged, now y'all just heard his career stats. Now I'm going to go over the final stats. And then I'm going to go down the fourth quarter. And y'all tell me if this nigga had enough. So, regular season, 27 points a game. 2011 NBA Finals, 17 points a game. A 10-point decrease. 10. Nigga, if he'd have just averaged 27, 7, and 6, they'd have won the finals. This nigga averaged 17, 7, and 6. 51% shooting for the regular season, 41% shooting for 2011 finals. He averaged 34% from three-point line in the regular season, 32% in the NBA finals in 2011, 3 turnovers in the regular season, 4 turnovers in the 2011 NBA finals. Now, in the regular season, Bron averaged 8.1 points a game in 2011. In the finals, in the fourth quarter, like I said, he averaged 8.1 points a game in the regular season in the fourth quarter. In the NBA finals, he averaged 2.2 points a game. So he only gave you 25% of his normal scoring averages in the fourth quarter. He had, game 4, he didn't score at all in the fourth quarter. He had games of 5 points, 2 points, 2 points, 0 points, 2 points, and I believe the last game was either 2 or 4 points. But it came up to 2.2 points a game in the fourth quarter. His plus minus in that final series was a -6. Now here's what I'm going to tell you. Everybody that had their flaws in the playoffs. Took Mike a while. Kobe had the situation in Phoenix when he didn't want to shoot the ball in Game 7 and all this other shit. But when you talk about not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, and the first time up at bat, you give me 17, 7, and 6, when you normally average 27, 7, and 6, and then you come on podcasts and other platforms and say, we had to build around our roster. We just didn't have enough. And all this other shit. Okay, point number 1. You knew you had to build around your roster when all 3 of y'all was making over $100 million. That's a lot back then. So you knew you had to build around your roster. Was you complaining about building around your roster in the first round of the playoffs? Was you complaining about building around you was being top heavy in the second round of the playoff? What about the Eastern Conference Finals? But it counts now when you're in the finals, right? That's when all of this. We didn't have enough, and this, that, and the other. You had enough to get to a 2-1 lead, but you didn't have enough. Yo, real talk. If you're a true basketball fan, for some reason you look at LeBron, you are a fan of LeBron, which is cool, and you look at LeBron through a different prism than the regular basketball prism. Because you can't cheat the game. I don't give a shit how much you change the narrative. You can't change the game, homie. I got Bron tied for third with being shit like this will keep moving him down that list. Because him and Rich Paul keep putting out that he ain't gonna have nothing to do with the coach selection for the Lakers. Shout out to my sister DJ, Deneen Jones. Name, remember this? You know what I'm gonna say to that? Man, fuck y'all. That's some bullshit. So now everything is about JJ Redick making Bron feel as comfortable as possible. So when Bron make the choice of who the coach is, JJ Redick gonna be the guy. They've already talked strategy. You know, he's already talked about how he would play Bronny and all of this other shit. The Lakers got a first round pick and a second round pick. I know they want to draft Bronny. But if they spend a first round pick on Bronny, Laker fans, you need to look at that twice. Let me tell you why. A couple months ago, Jeannie Buss, who I love to death, I think she's awesome, except for this. She made a point and she said her number one priority is to do whatever she need to do to keep LeBron happy. Is something wrong with that? Your number one priority should be doing whatever you got to do to win championships for all of those people at the crypto.com arena that's spending $500 for a ticket and food and shit like that. When Bron is gone, them same people going to be there. So you saying they can roll out when Bron is gone because your number one priority, you're going to change priorities to winning now after Bron is gone? Your number one priority should be making this team as best as possible to compete now and to compete in the near future. And I have a way to do so. She would never do this, but I think it's time to turn the page on Bron and AD. They are not going to be better than OKC. They are not going to be better than Denver. They are not going to be better than Minnesota. They are not going to be better than Dallas. I don't care who you add to the roster. If D'Lo opts in, and if I'm him, I make them trade me. If he opts in, they screw. They don't have a lot of dollars under the salary cap. Bron gonna get his money. AD's on a max contract. They just signed AR-15. D'Lo's under contract for another year. So here's how I would do it. If I'm the general manager, or if I own the Lakers, I go to Bron and say, if not for the Lakers, where do you want to go? Where would you want to play? If I had to trade you, where would you want to go? Give me top 3 teams, because either way I'm getting from under Bron. It's either going to be a sign and trade, I'm going to get something back, or that nigga walk. Because here's why. If he walks and you don't get anything back, you don't have to deal with the drama and all the pressure and all this bullshit on developing Bronny. Let that shit go somewhere else. You're the Lakers. You don't supposed to be in developmental status. Leave that shit for San Antonio. Matter of fact, Bronny may be good in San Antonio, to be honest with you. Bronny might be good in San Antonio. Bronny may be good in San Antonio. So let him go there. If you can't get nothing for Bron and Bron walks, I promise you can get a load for AD from somebody in the East Coast, Eastern Conference. A load. Send them to New York, watch what you get back. They got draft picks out the yin yang. Send them to Chicago, watch what you get back. They got draft picks. Send them to Brooklyn. Send them anywhere in the Eastern Conference. You don't have to see that nigga but twice a year and maybe in the playoffs. And you take all you've accumulated from Bron leaving and from AD leaving, and you restart now. Restart while you can still get a lot for AD, because him playing 70-some games is not something that's going to regularly happen. And you and Bron do a solid with each other. But this keeping Bron, drafting Bronny, and all this other shit, Jeannie Buss saying her number one priority is to keep Bron happy. Like, that should be third or fourth. Your number one priority is doing whatever you got to do to win chips, to compete for titles. You lost in the first round. You was in the play-in tournament. You're not competing for a title. The number one priority in Laker land, and if you come in my house and you see all this Laker shit I got in here, I'm a Lakerologist. So don't tell me I'm not flying by the seat of my pants. I've been a Lakers fan since 79. The reason I was a Lakers fan because my dad was a Larry Bird's fan, and I got tired of hearing about Larry Bird. So I found out who was Larry Bird's biggest competitor. It was Madge, and there you go. Favorite player of all time is B. I done been to countless games at Staples Center. I was at the game, what year was this? When Kobe dunked on Steve Nash, when Lamar Odom gave him the pass from sitting on his ass, gave it to Kobe. Kobe dunked on Steve Nash. Should have been a charge, but that was Bean, so they made the right call. I was at that game in Phoenix. I've been to plenty of games. I support my Lakers. But the one thing you won't see in my house is anything with LeBron in it. I ain't got no LeBron Laker posters, pictures, none of that shit. No memorabilia. Because all that other ancillary shit, I don't want to hear about. I hope Bronny make it, and I hope Bronny's one of the greatest players ever. But if he isn't, doesn't mean the Lakers supposed to take the heat for that. And if I'm another team, if Bron really want to play with his son, and let's say I'm Washington, I draft that nigga. With the 17th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Bronny James. What happens now? But he shows up in Cleveland doing all this shit. He's letting Cleveland know, he's letting the Lakers know, hey, I can always come back home. There you go. Send them two niggas to fucking Cleveland. Watch what you get for him. Give me Donovan Mitchell. So for Bron and AD, give me a couple draft picks. Give me Donovan Mitchell. Give me Evan Mobley or Jared Allen. I don't know if I want to fuck with Jared Allen because the nigga act like he was hurt from a rib soreness when people walking out there with torn ACL, torn MC meniscuses and shit. But anyway, I would hose them. It's time to turn the page. The Lakers will not compete for a championship next year as presently constructed. And whatever they do will not put them in that top four unless you rob one of them top four of one or two of their best players. You're not getting Shea, Jalen Williams, and the rest of that Chet Holmgren, right? You're not getting the Ant-Man. You probably can get Karl Anthony Towns, but you're not getting Ant-Man. You're not getting Joker, who's a fourth team. And you know you're not getting Kyrie Copperfield or Joe Crack the Dawn, Luka the Doncic. You're not getting them. So let's get ready to win. And then build a team If you want to bring JJ Redick in, then okay, cool. You think you're going to bring JJ Redick into a team or whoever this coach is, and the coach is going to make them better? No. So, in conclusion of this brief episode, I want to say, shout out to the real Lakerologists out there. Shout out to Laker Nation. Shout out to Bean. Love you, Bean. But it's time to move on. Lakers, Genie Bus, Rob Pelinka. You only got a job because you was Kobe agent. Rob Pelinka. It's time to move forward, bro, and put this team in a position to compete for multiple championships over the next 6 or 7 years. Because the way it is now, it ain't going to happen. And I don't even want to say 6 or 7 years. The next 2 to 3 years, 3 4 years, let's get us ready to compete for a championship. New Orleans is on the rise. San Antonio beats the brakes out of the Lakers. They beat the dog shit out of the Lakers. So that's 6 teams, right? That you're behind. No matter how messed up Phoenix is, you still got to worry about Phoenix when you got Book and KD. You cannot just shit on them. Think they need a point guard? Let Bronny go there. So in the end, man, I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Chronic OGs. Shout out to my boy Smitty. I know you're going to be pissed after you listen to this episode. Shout out to my boy Chance Whitfield. I know you ain't going to be too happy after you listen to this episode. Shout out to my boy Country Wayne. I know you're a bronologist or bronsexual too. You may not be happy when you hear this episode neither. Thank y'all for coming out and listening to this episode of the Chronic OGs podcast. I'm that boy they call Big Tone. I'm out. Love you to death. Peace. Thank you for the support. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons so we continue to grow this podcast the way we would like to continue to bring you interesting, funny, serious, heartwarming, and all that other shit content. Love y'all. Peace out.